Inga mana I nā reo ngā karanga maho te motu, tēnā koutou, tēnā tata katoa. Tēnā tata kua tāma ki tēnei o tō tātanei hōtaka, hei painga mō o tātanei whānau, hei painga hoki mō ngā kaupapa kōrero, kua whāriki hea, ki wainganui a tātou. Nō reira, nau mai, piki mai, hara mai. Kia ora everyone and welcome to Thankful Thursday tonight. What a beautiful time where we can come together and be thankful for the things that we are involved with. We're still waiting for our guest speaker to come online. Hopefully he'll be here in the next few moments. There's a bit of technical difficulties happening in between these sort of things. So at the moment, I'm here in Tāmaki Makaurau with some of the whānau for a kaupapa. So most of you all know around the rongoa journey that's happening in my life. And so there's a whole heap of things that I've been doing. So doctor's appointments Wednesday, Thursday today, and of course tomorrow as well. But also another part is when you come together to celebrate the awesome things that are happening in our community. And tonight, tomorrow, we'll be celebrating one of our good friends as well as she gets with the a Queen Service Medal with Dame Cindy Kiro, and so we're looking forward to that tomorrow. But of course, first of all, doctor's appointments and tests and stuff first, and then the other thing too is just having the time away to reflect. So it's a beautiful time that we can come together and reflect on each other. The other part of this korero too is that it's around time that we can spend quality time with whānau and with friends. And Thankful Thursday started from that. It started from the aspect of COVID being what it is today, and now it's just going to be another part of our normality in our life. So, in saying that, whānau, this week has been a week of blessings. And so one of the biggest parts that I need to acknowledge is that there are so many things around COVID that has happened that we've all been blessed about. And so the activities that we're having in Rotorua at the moment, they're all around the fact of connectivity and also around socializing. And it's about bringing some normality back where people can come together, connect, and also socialize amongst their peers and amongst whānau. And so Monday, waiata classes. Tuesday, we've got salsa. Wednesday, Auntie Rotu has got her moteta classes on Zoom for Ngāti Piki ao whānau. Then Thursday, we've got the free cooking classes tonight at the My Wellness Centre. And then Friday is a youth gathering it's a Sabbath day where we can come prep ourselves for the Sabbath beginning. So a whole heap of things happening, but that's only because we are able to do so in the situation of what COVID is today. And so basically, it's around about us identifying, yes, COVID is here, but it shouldn't be the thing that defines who we are or what we do. And so taking this time to just celebrate each other and leaving the hara at the door and coming in to connect and socialize together. So that's basically around this kaupapa kōrero tonight. And while we're still waiting for our so we're just trying to connect Taiho. The three dots up the top. So yeah, there's a whole heap of things that are happening in celebrations. Sorry, whānau, we've still got a little bit of computer difficulties with our guest speaker. But yeah, so there's a whole heap of things that are happening in our community, and that's because we have to just try and get some normality back in our lives. And whatever you're going through, whatever's happening for you and your whānau, kia kaha, kia maia, kia manua nui. That's the biggest part of this whole situation, is that, you know, it's just about connecting ourselves to some normality in our lives. And so, kia kaha tātou, in regards to keeping on top of yourself and just keeping yourself safe. Still, still mask up. You know, mask up is a huge benefit. As you know, there's a new variant, a new version of it coming out. It's in regards to the monkey pox or something like that. So new variants, and it's going to be new variants coming up all the time. So kia kaha koutou, there's a whole heap of things that we can do together just to keep ourselves safe and just to keep ourselves in sync and in line. So he mihi aroha tēnā kia koutou katoa. We're just going to have a short break. I'm going to play this waiata, and then by then we will get to our guest speakers. Nō reira, mātakitaki mai.
Oh, I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whispers of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. Kahuri te whakaro ki a koe, ki a koe, ki a koe. Ko koe te kaihanga o ngā mea katoa, i ngā wā katoa, ki a mātou e. If I could are perfect in all of your ways. Whai marama tonu mata ki a koe.
Happy hour starts in an hour. Are we allowed to speak about this?
Rawe ngā mihi nui kia koutou o Maranatha SDA Church mō koutou nei waiata e taunei kia mātou i tēnei pō. Yeah, what an awesome way of actually coming into this next segment of Kaupapa Korero with our guest speaker. He's been doing our karakia mo te ahiahi pō since the lockdown period, and that waiata was a quite fitting time for us to actually introduce our guest speaker for tonight. Like I said, he does not need an introduction. Everyone around the whole mutu knows who this guy is, and for his vocal act, no. But for the times that he has been so supportive of the kaupapa that is ahead of him. So, e te rangatira, tēnā koe e Kingi, nau mai ki te whare kōrero a te pōnei. Kia ora, Kingi. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Tēnā koe, Iwi. Nō reira, e te punanga a te atua, e te whakatauiratanga o te kupu whaikaha, me te whakatinanatanga o te kupu aroha. Tēnā koe, o tira tēnā koutou katoa e mātakitaki mai ana ki tēnei o ngā pāhotanga o Iwi. He honore nui tēnei, ki te tūhono mai ki tēnei kaupapa nui, e tūhono atu ki te matua nui te rangi. Nō reira, tēnā tātou. Kia ora, Iwi.
Tēnā koe, Kingi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And like I said, no introduction is needed of who you are, basically. But as you are in Rotorua, I'm up here in Tāmaki Makaurau. We've got another awesome kaupapa that we're doing a popo. And actually, it's quite a fitting time to have a kōrero about this because you received a Queen's Service Medal or a medal a few years back now. And so tomorrow I'm here to witness another person from our haukainga that's receiving her medal a popo. But also it's a good time also because you were at Korobom's when he got his knighthood. So whakamarama mai, what's the process in regards to receiving such a title of a award like this?
Yeah, it's a real honour. For me, I received my QSM in 2014 for the areas of public speaking and mental health awareness. I actually found out. So I was the New Year's. I think it was the New Year's honours. So I found out maybe September, October, Iwi. And what happens is a letter is sent asking if I'd actually like to accept it. It's pretty awesome. You get this letter, and it has the Office of the Governor General on the envelope there, and you think, ooh, what's this about? Then you get a letter with the letterhead there of the Governor General of New Zealand, just generally requesting whether I would like that I've been nominated to receive a QSM in the New Year's honours list. Can I send a return if I'd like? Or, I need to reply whether it's a yes or a no. Of course, I was a yes. The reason that I was a yes is because my great grandfather Iwi received an MBE. His Tuoro Pango was his name, and in the Second World War, he fought in the First World War, but in the Second World War, all the GIs would come to Rotorua. And all the wounded GIs would come to Rotorua. They would stay at the QE2 hospital that we know just along the lake. And koro, and then what they would do is on their off time, as part of the healing, they would go to Tamatekapua, and there would be a kapahaka group, Taipurutu kapahaka group, would perform, and koro was the karaua that would welcome them all the time. So that's how koro got his MBE. I've always known that koro Tuoro had an MBE So when I got my QSM, I just thought, oh, no, I definitely want this in this space. Then after you send the letter, after you send your reply, which I was a yes, then, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody. Definitely a mum, definitely the whānau, definitely everyone, as you know, my wife Wendy was the first, her and I, she was the first one that I told. So, and then our tamariki, and I was trying to tell the world, but we had to wait till New Year's Eve when the list was actually published, and I was really lucky because our papa, Toby Curtis, was in that list as receiving a knighthood. Then, of course, what happens is a few months later, I think mine was in March, you get a choice to receive your tohu in Wellington or Auckland. I wanted to receive mine in Auckland. Many of the whānau came up with me. It's a really awesome time. The whānau sit in this big, huge lounge. We go to another room. They brief us on what's going to happen. Then we all go to a seat, and we all allocated a seat, so it just flows like that, Iwi. And then you get this person when it's time. He goes, "Oh, hello, really awesome voice there, Iwi, radio voice that you and I would be jealous of, Oh, hello, and all this stuff." And then they read out our names and what we've done, and then we go up and then we meet the Governor General. The Governor General I met was Sir Jerry Matiparai. And he came up and he goes, "Gee, really awesome to meet you." And I'm thinking, "Oh, this is pretty awesome." And then when that finishes, we all stand up and get acknowledged. We go outside for a cake. And what we do sometimes, because my grandmother and my great aunt, my Nanny Bonnie, my grandmother Rita and Nanny Bonnie came up, so we went for a little look through the Governor General's house, and Nan did a bit of a haka, and then of course then we head home. That's basically a bit of a rundown of what happened. So it probably takes over a period of about 3 or 4 months. The first 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. The other part of parcel about it, you just said it's an honor, like the honor is, but keeping that secret in for such a long time, yeah, and then you had to tell your family not to tell anybody else until it gets released, and
Yep.
yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah,
so right.
and it was
What a
really hard
beautiful,
because
yep,
on the New Year's Eve, I had my cousin's wedding over in Whakatane, so we couldn't say anything
oh
until
yeah,
and then when 2014 came along, we were like, hey, guess what? We could tell people. But then, of
Merry
course, it was
Christmas.
midnight, so we had to wait for we couldn't say anything until the next day
Yeah,
when the
yeah,
newspaper published our names and things like that. But it's a real honor
yeah,
because people of your own community will nominate you and go through that whole process.
yeah,
I was just really proud. Public speaking, of course, with Toastmasters, but the mental health space, it's always been my goal to participate or to contribute in
yes,
the acceptance, the
yes,
acceptance of mental health, and not to have it be different. When you're different, you're bad, you're weird. But
yeah,
when you're sick, you go to the doctor, same thing when your mental health is out. That's what it is. When mental health is out, there's nothing wrong. And in the acceptance of that acceptance, many of us, so
yeah.
those are the two kaupapa that I received my QSM on.
Oh, that way. Well, we're talking about your QSM and about receiving it for your mahi in the mental health sector.
Yep.
This month we've been acknowledging Mental Health Awareness Month. And one of the biggest kaupapa that we just finished last week on Friday was against bullying and its full mentality. Um, we all know that mental health is a huge subject of korero. Um, what has been your, since receiving your tohu, that tohu tanga or the QM, Queen Service Medal, to what you are seeing in regards to us acknowledging mental health to it today. Have we taken on board the fullness of mental health? Do you think?
Well, I think that's a long journey, Iwi, and I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go out there and say it. Um, the dislike. I'm gonna use dislike. I don't know, the mistrust or those stereotypes. I think the stigma of that mental health whakaaro didn't come on a waka. I think it came on a ship. Myself, I think it came on a schooner. And the reason that I say that is because if you look at the idea of tangihanga, that's it's got a tangi. But in this world where it's where you don't where it's frowned upon to cry and things of that nature, that's something that's a colonial a hangover. And so for me, it's around about for me. It's about retracing and remembering the korero they used to have iwi around tangihanga. Is that even the strongest warriors, the greatest toa, when they would go to a tangi, they would tangi. They would just they korero. We have the hupe and the roimata, but you don't see the hupe and the roimata because we're still too hard. But the hupe used to fall out of the nose of the tangata, the wailing, the crying, because our people knew that that is what a part of life was. If you're happy, you'll smile. If you're sad, you cry. That's what you do. And there was no whakaaro kino, there was no bad whakaaro around that particular space. But now, because our people are staunch and it's not okay to cry, what we've done is that we've hidden our feelings. All those what we call those bad emotions, wanting to cry. Bullies would come out to say, "Are you going to cry?" And to me, the bravest person is the one that would say yes. Yeah, I am. Hey, and so that's so I think, and I think it's turning though, Iwi. I think it's turning. We had the Pink Day the other day, as you said, and I was at council. I work at council, and we had a hui with some of the school's children, and all of the teachers were wearing pink and wearing those. So I think it's becoming, about being accepted and being accepting. And so for myself, I think my biggest battle for myself is accepting myself as a sensitive tangata. So I'm okay to share my feelings, but to accept it, because being raised in a space where you don't cry, and you have to be macho and things of that nature, that's really that's you can be that because that's the culture we were raised in. But now I think my battle is to accept that I am that sensitive side, and love that, and have that be, instead of judge myself based on what I'm thinking the other expectations are.
Yeah, you're quite right in regards to that stigma for men in general, not
Yep.
even just Maori men, but men in general, is that you have to have that heart uphill at the end of the day. That was the mentality of all of those sort of things, and so I'm exactly like you. I think we are taking a little few steps forward, but
Yep.
also reminding ourselves that um, around these little things. And I'm so thankful for your journey as well, Kingi, because your vulnerability when you were Mawiwi, um, and you shared that to the motu. And, normally people wouldn't even consider telling the motu about their Mawiwitanga. And so, as while I'm talking about that, is because we always continue. You and I have been quite open about our Mawiwitanga and about you know about being present for everybody in our whānau in this journey with us. But there's too many of our men that think not it's not cool, or it's not cool to show your vulnerability, because I got to be hard because that's how our people were. We were hard, and I was thinking. I've always said to myself that this journey, and it's similar to what you have been saying. This journey is just not my own. It belongs to my whānau. It belongs to the kids. It belongs to everyone that we have contact with. And I think those small steps that you have been doing, that I have been doing, and to normalize people to step out and to take that leap of faith of
Mm.
taking ownership of their own mana, to the rest of the world is a step forward. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing your stories, but also for sharing um, karakia o te ahiahi pō, and the stories that go behind it. And thank you for allowing me to be in that space as
Thank
to
you.
fill in that space, because it comes to mind all the time is that you can never have enough karakia, you can never have enough time sharing to people. It doesn't matter if you believe in Buddha or if you believe in your as your own setting. There's a whole heap of things that we can be thankful for, and that's just
Nice. Yeah.
connecting and socializing again. Well, the
Yeah.
next part of my kaupapa korero with you, and this is to just summarize or finish up our korero for tonight, is you're quite an influential speaker, not only regionally, locally, and nationally, but also internationally with your
Yep.
Toastmasters stuff. Um, how can somebody who's interested in doing Toastmasters actually take that leap of faith to get started? What is sort of your recommendation of how we should do that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a hard question because I know some people that's actually it just petrifies them. Petrifies people. Like even just coming to with Toastmasters, you don't have to get up straight away. You get up when you're ready. But even just sitting there, it really depends on for me. Um, I'm just going over in my mind. What is one thing a person can do? Yeah, one thing a person can do in terms of public speaking. So I had this vision one day. I was standing outside Kmart. I was standing outside Kmart, and I had this vision of this person zooming into the trade central, screaming in their car, screaming around that roundabout, saying, "Jump in!" And then they stop in front of me and they'll say, "Come on, Kingi, we're off. Jump in the car and we're off." And why am I telling you that? Is because quite often that's what if you imagine that person that's in the car is the speaker, yeah, and we are the people on the side of the road at Kmart. And so that person, it's like this person says, "Come on, I've got something to say. I've got something to say. Come with me." And that's what the story is, yeah? And the first thing that I would say if somebody says, "Come on, King, we're off," um, I'd say, "Okay, so where are we going to?" Because I want to know where we're going to. And if I don't, and I jump in the car, I'm always wondering, where are we off to? And I'm not looking at the scenery. So when we're in a speech, when you're doing a speech, me as an audience member, like in the car, I'm wanting to, well, where are we going? Where are we going with the speech? And until I know what the speech is, where we're going with the speech, I'm wondering what's happening, where we're going, and I'm not hearing the speech. So one point that I would like to ask our whānau is that when you get up to speak, what's the message? What is it that you want to say? So even before you write the speech, you have to figure out what is it that I want to say. It might be, I want to tell you about. I want to. Somebody has to give a 21st speech. Ultimately, the message could be, "All right, I just want to say how proud I am of you." Yeah, that's the message. And so you write the speech around that. Yeah. So you might start with, so I just really want to say, thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you. And here's why. Well, this is, so I'm going to take you on a journey. This is what a QSO journey looks like.
Nice.
As long as people will know what you're talking about, or where you're going with this korero.
Do you still get nervous public speaking? Yep.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time.
Is
Even
it-
yesterday when Marino, when I
Yep.
was giving my korero on behalf of Mayor Steve, I felt really nervous. But a couple of things happened. I was lucky I was in front of Marino, so with our Ngāti Piki whānau, so I felt safe. So I had a good time there. But yeah, I do. But what I need to know is, again, where am I going with this korero? And my korero was to uplift the reo.
Rawe. Yep.
This
Rawe.
is about the reo, and so let's uplift it. So what are one or two examples of what uplifting the reo will do? And then I said, oh, this is the kupapa, and what this means is this, and this will happen. And then I say, this is, and then at the end, I say, wrap it all up. So yeah, but it probably maybe two or three sentences into a speech.
Wow. Yep.
I get. I'll stop in minutes.
Yep. Oh,
What about you?
kapai. Yeah, I'm the same as you. I get asked that question all the time. Oh, you're so good at it. You're so blah 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 blah. I was going, I might be good at it, but I'm faking it now. but
And
but
just till
I
you get there, yeah.
yeah, and
Just
I
till you
said
get
once I get over myself, and I think it's a lot to do with myself. Once I get over myself, I'm fine after that, and it just flows out quite easily.
you and
But
I,
sorry, carry on.
you and I are the same as that. We're Kaupapa driven people. We message. We're not really storytellers. We're more messengers.
Yeah.
And so once we get over ourselves and connect with that message again, oh, we're away. Hey, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and
that's
new
right. That's
korero
like
comes
even the
today.
karakia, like with karakia and stuff. It just comes straight from the atua, and then the atua goes straight out. And so, those sort of things too. When I do koho or just anything like that, it sort of just comes out because that someone else is actually doing all of that. And our tupuna were really awesome orators in the day, and so to be a example of what they were in our lives back, how they are mentors that we look up to, is exactly how I want our kids to see us doing. That we look confident, and that's cool. That would mean that these kids that are looking at us will feel confident as well when they take over our responsibilities when they get a bit older.
And that's why I want to do it. That's why I keep competing. Firstly, I love it. But if our young rangatahi can see Kingi, that Kingi Biddle from Kotu can be up there, so can they.
Yep,
So can
that's
they.
right.
So can we, Iwi, out there, because it's about delivering the message, knowing what that message is and finding ways to deliver the message so that the people you're talking to can see it.
Aye, tikatai. Well, that brings us to the end of our show, Kingi. Tata near 40 minutes, so we've done really
Yeah,
well
sorry.
tonight.
It took me ages to get on. But it was just
it's
because
fine.
was my iPad. But can I have something?
Oh.
Can I just say something quickly?
Yes.
So yeah, at Te Whānau, I just wanted to talk about my dressing gown. So just because people are thinking, Kingi's coming on to Iwi show, talk with his dressing gown on. And one of the things that I started to, when I was sick, I started to realize that my biggest taonga is my tinana, is my body. And I, just like Iwi, my body still isn't right. My back is still sore. So it's about, so to me, it's about always getting that right rest, always ensuring listening to my tinana, and And my tinana talks to me through the aches and pains and also through the korero of the matua nui te rangi to me. Like today, I had a really hard day. I was going to go to the gym, but I thought, well, maybe I won't go to the gym because my body may not be able to take it. So I'll go home for a rest and a moe. And I really, and it comes to us about not taking our tinana for granted, not taking our mental health for granted, and also not taking our taha wairua for granted, and always looking after those areas of us so that the tinana, the hinengaro, the wairua, and the ngākau will give back, because they can feel our aroha, our manaakitanga, our tiakitanga when we look after those spaces of us. So I'm not embarrassed, as it were, and to wear my dressing gown at this time of the day, because I know that I want to promote that we don't have to be busy all the time, e tātou mā. We don't have to stay up all night or what have you, even though I do. But it's just about, take a step back, have a look, and let the matua and your tinana, your wairua, and your hinengaro guide you. So, just really honoured to be on your show, Iwi. So tēnā koe.
Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, e taku rangatira. Thank you so much for just spending these last few minutes with us, but also for all your mahi that you have done over the many years, and in particular supporting the Ahure Festival, the Rotorua Primary Schools Festival, for so many years, and coming into MC and just be a part of our ropu. And it's because people like you that give you their time so easily, it helps us so much to be able to get these community events out to our people. So
Thank
he
you.
mihi mai wha tēnei ki a koe e te rangatira. Kia piki te ora, there's a whole heap of things, and we're always praying for you. And we just, thank you so much for everything. And even Wendy and your tamariki,
And they send their love back. They send their love back to Iwi.
ngā mihi nui ki a koe. O te rā, i tau tātanei whānau, ko tai mai te mutunga o tō tātanei pō. We've come to the end of our night, but a big mihi to everybody for coming on and just being a part of the show tonight. Before we finish, so next week we've got another guest speaker coming on, and next week's one is around different Māori businesses, and so we're going to be taking a look at some of the Māori businesses, small Māori businesses that are doing some awesome things in our community. Nā reira, I runga e tēnā, kia tai te rangi Māori ki rungi a koutou katoa, kia noho haumaru, kia noho ora mai, ka kite anō tātou, ka kite e Kingi.
Ka kite, ngā mihi.